Eureka!
You've watched all those stop-motion movies and now you want to make one yourself. Or you just like watching tutorials. I know that's a thing. Either way, this is the tutorial for you because we're going to cover it all. Coming up with ideas, gathering the right gear, setting up the scene and camera, the basic principles for bringing stuff to life. Welcome to your startup guide to stop motion. What sort of movie should you make? Best way to start? Keep it short and simple. My first movies involved shots of my toys and models moving around so I could get the sense of basic timing. Then they gradually got longer and more complex, though generally keeping just a few minutes long. What objects do you already have that can be animated? Toys, decorations, craft supplies, or even food? There can be a clear story, or go abstract. What gear do you need? A camera might be useful, such as a phone or device that can run an app like Stop Motion Studio. A DSLR is best, which needs to be hooked up to a computer that can run Dragonframe or other stop-motion app. And you've just got to have a tripod or something to secure the camera throughout the shoot. Just trying to hold the camera steady makes the movie unwatchable. There are inexpensive tripod options, or use clamps, tape, or glue to hold it in place. You can put tape on the camera to protect it from glue and attach it to something that will hold it steady. A down shooter is good for some projects. For this, I used the post from a discarded cat pole, drilled holes through it, and bolted a tripod head to it. This is good for animating small objects or cutout animation. 2 or more lights are needed, which can be professional lights, but they can also be desk lamps or pole lamps. I use these relatively inexpensive LED lights, though they tend to need something to control the spill of the light. Plenty of light on your stage will reduce grain and add vibrance to the visuals. Effects lights can enhance the scene, but if you're just starting out, just brighten the stage up as best you can. Block outdoor light sources as needed so the lighting doesn't change as you shoot. Next, we set up the scene. A simple tabletop with a secured background is a good place to start, with your objects positioned on the stage. Your lights go one on each side. It looks good to have one light brighter than the other and one light higher than the other. One light positioned in the back can give the subject a rim light, which adds depth to the scene. Now we set up the camera. For the app, use the manual overrides. Set to auto, the camera may change focus, exposure, and white balance as things move around in the shot. So set all these things manually and make sure you have a good sharp focus on the subject. Then change the frame rate. 24 frames per second makes for especially smooth movement, but it takes longer to animate. 12 frames per second is common for stop motion. Less than that, like 8 frames per second, makes for jerky movement. Next, frame your scene so the action fills the frame. There's usually no reason to have a lot of unused space around your character. Plan out the movement to make sure you have good staging throughout the shot. Try sliding the objects around and watch in the camera to make sure the composition holds up. Once you have the camera positioned and the objects in their starting place, it's time to secure everything down. This includes the tripod legs and lights, though if you're shooting on carpet, it may be okay. Everything that needs to stay put throughout the animation process should be secured down. Hot glue is really good for this. If you don't want to hot glue the object, you can put a piece of tape on it first and then glue it down. Now let's get things moving. If your object is to start moving at the beginning of the shot, start with at least a 6-frame hold, then ease in the movement. That means starting with small movements and gradually making the moves larger. Ease the movement out at the end. That is, gradually make the movements per frame smaller and smaller. Then hold for maybe 8 frames before beginning the next move. Insert holds to give a chance to read a pose, or to give the character a chance to think. A service gauge is a good way to measure the movement between frames. It's a must if you aren't using stop-motion software. Line up the point on the character before making the move and gauge how far you move the character. Stop-motion apps have onion skinning, which allows you to view the current frame as well as sort of a ghost of the preceding frames, kind of like the layers of an onion. Take the time to learn the features offered in your app. For example, Dragonframe gives you the ability to draw paths that include the distance between frames. Animating action figures and dolls can be a good place to start. You'll need to find a way to keep them standing, such as sticky stuff on the feet or a support that extends from the back and stays hidden behind them. Just make sure you have full control over the figures so you can keep their movement smooth. Clay animation can also be a great place to start. You can create a simple character to start with and apply the same principles of holds and ease-ins in the movement. But you can then layer in squash and stretch as it moves along. It's easy to do replacement animation with clay. This is where you create all the different shapes the object will take in the animation beforehand, using the same amount of clay for each one. And then when you animate, you swap them out one at a time to create the movement. From here you can start increasing complexity. As I learned all the principles and techniques, I increased the number of characters, experimented with effects, built bigger sets, and of course blew things up. My other tutorials cover subjects you can move on to, such as lip sync, animating to music, cutout animation, camera moves, and special effects, including blowing things up. But it's really all about practicing and improving with every scene you animate. So hopefully this information will help you get started with your first stop motion shot, and you'll be able to minimize the time you spend dealing with technical issues and get right down to the fun of stop motion character animation. Thanks for watching.